Excuse me. Your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help from you? Get over your entitlement. I'm not some damsel in distress waiting for you to ride in on your high horse.
A time-honoured fairy tale beloved by millions, which spans generations, borders and creeds. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it turned out just about everything.
Maybe she's been placed under some kind of a curse.
And all that will wake her is the kiss of a handsome...
I'm awake already! Who are you? Care for an apple? Okay, I'll take a green one.
No, take the red one.
So Snow White slept and waited for her prince to come, but he never did.
No, prince or a different kind of prince?
CEO of IBM.
It's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Theaters are, of course, entirely empty.
The movie was absolutely terrible.
Destroyed her career and the careers of anybody who worked on the movie. Kind of tough if you are the biggest media company on earth to have that company turn against you. And Rachel Zegler, to this very waking hour, seems totally blissful, completely ignorant, and has zero self-awareness of the destruction that she has wrought. Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms.
One of the most unlikable humans
That
ever.
is sadder than when the original Snow White eats the apple.
Rachel, can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age.
Cue the laugh.
Rachel Zegler thought she had already endured the worst of it. The memes, the late-night jokes, the brutal South Park parody that turned her into a cultural punchline. It was a nightmare she couldn't escape.
I'm really sorry. I was just trying to be kind.
Kind? If you want to be kind, disappear and take the patriarchy with you. Seriously, go away, stalker. You're weird. Weird.
But rumor has it, the storm is only just beginning. According to whispers spreading across Hollywood, South Park's writers may be planning a new special, one that won't just target Rachel alone.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
Insiders claim this time they're allegedly setting their sights on both Rachel and Disney itself, dragging them together into a full-blown, unfiltered, merciless roast. Sources close to the situation speculate that the next South Park event could take the takedown even further, using Rachel's Snow White fallout as a symbol of everything audiences are fed up with when it comes to Disney's modern remakes. The alleged plan? Not just mocking Rachel's now infamous interviews and empty theater premieres, but roasting Disney's entire strategy of corporate virtue signaling, diversity checklists, and nostalgia exploitation.
HD TV on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all?
And if the rumors are true, insiders say this could make the first parody look tame by comparison. Some within Disney's ranks are reportedly panicking behind the scenes, worried that another viral episode could do catastrophic damage to their already fragile brand. After the colossal Snow White flop, executives had hoped the backlash would start fading away. Instead, if South Park's new episode drops, and especially if it pulls Disney itself deeper into the fire, it could reopen every wound and expose every crack the studio has desperately tried to paper over. As for Rachel, sources say she's deeply rattled by the rumors, fearing that another South Park ambush could finish what the first one started, turning her public image into something she can never claw back from. One insider allegedly described her mood in a single brutal sentence. It's like watching a public career funeral in slow motion.
I don't need your business. Thanks.
Of course, officially, no one from South Park or Comedy Central has confirmed anything yet. It's still just speculation swirling in the industry air. But if history, and South Park's track record, are any guide, where there's smoke, there's usually a raging bonfire on the way. Even before South Park allegedly decided to load up for another round, Disney's Snow White remake had already turned into a historic mess. Insiders say the panic started months ago, long before Rachel Zegler's interviews blew up or the memes flooded TikTok. Snow White was supposed to be a guaranteed billion-dollar franchise reboot, another easy win in Disney's long line of nostalgic cash-ins. Instead, it face-planted so badly that analysts now openly discuss it as one of the company's worst brand implosions in decades. The signs were there early. Merchandise tied to the movie gathered dust on store shelves. Retailers quietly slashed. Prices on dolls, costumes, and themed popcorn buckets weeks before release day, desperate to offload stock.
I'm the hottest person in the world.
An insufferable, whiny brat.
Early audience surveys, typically a strong predictor of box office turnout, painted a chilling picture: low excitement, negative perceptions about changes to the story, and major backlash surrounding the removal of the dwarfs. Internally, sources claim Disney executives realized the film was in trouble, but believed their marketing machine could still drag it across the finish line. They were wrong. Opening weekend numbers were catastrophic. Instead of debuting to thunderous fanfare, Snow White crawled into theaters with embarrassingly low ticket sales. Videos of empty theater lobbies circulated online. TikTokers filmed themselves sitting alone in near-abandoned auditoriums, joking that they had more dwarfs in their group chat than showed up for Rachel's big moment. Meanwhile, critics savaged the film, calling it hollow, preachy, and joyless, the exact opposite of what Disney had promised. And then came the corporate silence. Disney, normally a master at spinning narratives and salvaging bad press, went strangely quiet. Insiders speculate that internal meetings grew heated as blame flew from department to department. Some reportedly blamed Rachel's press tour for alienating traditional fans. Others blamed marketing for pushing modernization too hard. A few even whispered that the real culprit was Disney's entire live-action remake strategy, which had finally stretched nostalgia thin enough to snap.
Sound like I hear a couple of people, too.
The collapse was undeniable, and that was before South Park's first hit aired. Now, with rumors swirling that the next South Park special may aim squarely at Disney itself, the nightmare could easily get worse. Because if audiences thought Snow White's failure was bad, insiders warned that a second, bigger mockery could turn it into a full-blown Disney brand crisis. The first time South Park fired at Rachel Zegler, it wasn't just a hit, it was an annihilation. The show's brutal parody, centering around Woke White the Reinvention, didn't merely lampoon Rachel's interviews or Disney's botched marketing. It took aim at the very public persona that had made Rachel such an easy target. The lecture-heavy sound bites, the disdain for true love stories, the endless emphasis on empowerment over enchantment. And audiences didn't just laugh, they latched on. Within hours, TikTok exploded with clips. Fans mashed together side-by-sides of animated Snow White ranting about patriarchy with real footage of Rachel describing the original prince as a stalker and proudly announcing that Snow White didn't dream about love anymore. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't exaggerated. To many viewers, it felt like South Park had simply played back Rachel's greatest hits with cartoon voices and let the absurdity speak for itself. The memes hit even harder. On Twitter, hashtags like Woke White and Snow Woke trended for days. Edits showing Rachel lecturing woodland creatures about gender wage gaps racked up millions of views. Reaction videos flooded YouTube, with creators joking that South Park had done what Disney's own PR team couldn't: accurately explain why audiences wanted nothing to do with this version of Snow White.
I never wanted to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities.
Because you just can't close your mouth.
Insiders close to Rachel reportedly say she was blindsided by just how vicious and widespread the response was. She allegedly believed that the controversy would stay niche, contained to a few angry tweets and grumpy YouTubers. Instead, she became a pop culture meme practically overnight. And once the internet decides you're a punchline, it's almost impossible to reverse that momentum. To make matters worse, South Park didn't just roast Rachel's Snow White persona, it amplified every past controversy she had ever touched. Clips of her political statements resurfaced. Old tweets and red carpet soundbites got recontextualized. Suddenly, Rachel wasn't just the star of a flop. She was the face of Hollywood arrogance, corporate virtue signaling, and tone-deaf storytelling, all wrapped up in one viral cartoon-fueled package. And now, with whispers growing about a potential full South Park episode that may drag both Rachel and Disney into an even harsher spotlight, insiders fear that the meme isn't fading, it's just getting started. While the internet laughed and shared clips by the millions, insiders claim that behind closed doors, Rachel Zegler was anything but amused. According to multiple whispers around Hollywood, Rachel's reaction to the South Park parody wasn't just embarrassment, it was full-blown fury. Sources close to her allegedly say she felt personally attacked, humiliated, and betrayed, not just by the show, but by the entire entertainment industry that seemed to be piling on without mercy. Some insiders speculate that Rachel immediately contacted her publicists and legal advisors, desperate to find some way to get the episode pulled from airing. One particularly juicy rumor even claims she demanded Comedy Central issue a public apology for what she reportedly called defamation disguised as satire. But if those efforts ever happened, they clearly didn't get far. South Park, known for decades of skewering celebrities, political figures, and entire corporations without flinching, didn't just stand their ground. They allegedly aired the parody again the very next night.
It's no longer 1937.
Everything will be great once we just act exactly like men.
Just to twist the knife, friends reportedly tried to calm Rachel down, warning that pushing back would only make things worse. And they were right. The more Rachel's behind-the-scenes anger leaked, the faster the memes spread. News outlets picked up on the story, framing Rachel as unable to take a joke and trying to censor comedy. Social media, already primed to mock her every move, exploded with fresh sarcasm. Some fans even joked that South Park should make a second episode just about her meltdown. The alleged rage didn't stop at South Park. Insiders say Rachel was privately furious at Disney too, convinced the company should have done more to shield her from public mockery. She reportedly felt abandoned, left to take the full brunt of the backlash while executives hid behind their boardroom doors. In her mind, according to those close to her, she had followed the studio's messaging notes, echoed the talking points about modern empowerment, and now she was being sacrificed to save face. But whether Rachel likes it or not, public perception had already shifted. Her fury, even if justified behind the scenes, only cemented the growing narrative that she was entitled, thin-skinned, and wildly out of touch with the audience she needed most. And with South Park allegedly sharpening their knives for another round, one that might drag Disney even deeper into the chaos, Rachel's behind-the-scenes fury might be the least of her problems. Just when it seemed like the South Park storm might be the worst of it, another blow came crashing in, and this time, it hit even closer to home, in a twist that insiders say left Disney executives horrified behind the scenes. The Simpsons aired their own brutal parody of the Snow White disaster. Only this time, the mockery didn't come from outside the company. It came from inside Disney's own empire. According to multiple sources, the episode featured a not-so-subtle reboot called Snow Woke, the reimagining, featuring a preachy, hyper-woke princess who scolds her rescuers, lectures woodland creatures about privilege, and proudly declares she doesn't need any white savior complex knights coming to her rescue.
I'm a narcissist.
It was a surgical strike, not just mocking the modernized Snow White script, but satirizing the entire corporate culture that allowed it to happen. And viewers immediately connected the dots. They knew exactly who the target was: Rachel Zegler, the Snow White remake, and the studio that had greenlit it all. The internet reaction was swift and savage. TikTok exploded with new memes splicing Rachel's real interviews with the Simpsons cartoon rants. YouTube reactors filmed themselves in disbelief that Disney's own properties were now roasting the company's most expensive live-action remake disaster. And Twitter threads filled with brutal one-liners like, "When even your own cartoons are roasting you, it's over." Insiders whispered that the mood inside Disney's Burbank offices turned icy. Some reportedly begged to pull the episode internally, while others argued it would only draw more attention if they tried. In the end, the studio stayed silent, choosing once again to let the mockery happen, rather than risk igniting a bigger media firestorm. But for Rachel, the damage was personal. Sources claim she felt utterly betrayed, believing Disney should have intervened, or at least publicly defended her after The Simpsons piled on. Instead, she watched from the sidelines as her public image took yet another savage beating, and this time, from a show technically owned by the same company that had once sold her as the face of Disney's future. For many viewers, it wasn't just funny, it was symbolic. Disney wasn't just losing control of the narrative, they were accidentally broadcasting their own humiliation to the world. And if the rumors about South Park's next episode are true, that they plan to drag both Rachel and Disney even deeper, then this isn't just a celebrity scandal anymore. It's a full-blown cultural collapse happening in real time.
It is a colossal disaster.
If there was ever a chance for Rachel Zegler to slow the avalanche, it slipped away the moment she opened TikTok. Insiders claim that after the South Park and Simpsons parodies detonated across the internet, Rachel was advised to lay low, stay silent, and let the fire burn itself out. Instead, she did the exact opposite and unintentionally kept pouring gasoline on the flames. It started with a few passive-aggressive Instagram stories, subtle likes on tweets criticizing South Park fans. Then came the sad, self-pitying TikTok lip syncs to Taylor Swift breakup ballads, framing herself as the misunderstood victim of a cruel world. To her most loyal supporters, maybe it was cathartic. To the general public, already skeptical and frustrated, it was cringe on an astronomical scale. Instead of sympathy, Rachel's attempts to show vulnerability only hardened the backlash. comment sections filled with brutal jokes. Fans who once defended her started posting memes asking where the dwarfs went, and why Rachel seemed more upset about a cartoon than about her movie flopping. Every post, every sigh, every veiled jab at the audience reinforced a single devastating narrative. Rachel wasn't just out of touch. She was blaming everyone but herself. Insiders allegedly warned her that continuing to engage, even passively, was a mistake. That every sad post, every liked insult towards South Park's fans only confirmed the worst fears audiences had about her. But Rachel, according to those close to her, couldn't resist. She reportedly felt that staying silent meant accepting the false narrative, that fighting back, even subtly, was a way of reclaiming her story. Unfortunately, the internet doesn't work that way. The more she posted, the more viral the backlash became. Meanwhile, Disney executives reportedly watched the disaster unfold with growing horror. Sources claim internal memos were sent urging all associated talent to avoid fueling online discourse around Snow White, hoping to smother the growing meme war before it devoured the entire release strategy. But it was already too late. Zegler's name wasn't trending because people wanted to see her next movie.
That she believes that she should be able to express herself and speak her truth or whatever nonsense, regardless of the consequences to everybody else.
It was trending because she had become the ultimate example of a self-inflicted PR meltdown. One meme, one TikTok, one sad Instagram story at a time. And with rumors swirling that Family Guy could be next to join the roast parade, insiders say the worst may still be ahead. As Rachel Zegler's social media spiraled and the internet transformed her into a full-blown punchline, Hollywood, predictably, began doing what it always does when the tides turn. It started backing away, quietly, swiftly, ruthlessly. Insiders claim that within weeks of the South Park and Simpsons firestorms, meetings that once buzzed with talk of Rachel's bright future went silent. Her name reportedly began disappearing from casting shortlists. Projects she had been loosely attached to were quietly reconsidered, and agents, producers, and directors who had once championed her were suddenly a lot harder to reach. Sources close to the industry whisper that Rachel's team began receiving fewer callbacks, fewer offers, fewer invitations to pitch meetings. One insider allegedly described it this way: "It's not personal, it's business. Once you become a meme, you're a liability, and nobody wants to build a $100 million movie around a liability." Another rumor suggests that even streaming giants like Netflix, once known for giving second chances to controversial stars, started quietly passing on Rachel for upcoming projects. Too risky, too much baggage, too much potential for negative headlines before a single frame was even shot. The real heartbreak, insiders say, is that Rachel wasn't frozen out because of her talent. By all accounts, she could sing, she could act, she could carry a scene, but Hollywood doesn't gamble on skill alone. It gambles on marketability. And in the eyes of executives scanning viral TikTok memes, brutal YouTube commentary, and endless South Park references, Rachel wasn't marketable anymore. She was a punchline, and no amount of publicist spin could make a punchline profitable. Even those within Disney, sources allege, began treating Rachel like a ghost. Marketing efforts shrank. Scheduled interviews were quietly canceled. Appearances were rescheduled indefinitely. Internally, some executives reportedly argued it was better to simply let the controversy die quietly.
This is really a bad movie, and I apologize to Walt Disney himself. I'm sorry.
Hoping that audiences and future investors would eventually forget the whole debacle. But Hollywood has a long memory for failure, and an even longer memory for embarrassment, especially when that embarrassment becomes memified, broadcasted, and replayed in endless loops on South Park, The Simpsons, and, if the rumors are true, soon, Family Guy too. For Rachel Zegler, the doors aren't slammed shut, not yet. But insiders say they're closing, fast. And if the rumored next wave of satire hits the way insiders fear it might, reopening those doors could take years, if it happens at all. While Rachel Zegler scrambled to salvage her public image, insiders claim Disney was fighting an even bigger nightmare behind the scenes, a full-blown investor revolt. Sources close to the situation whisper that boardroom tensions skyrocketed after Snow White's catastrophic box office performance became impossible to spin. At first, executives reportedly tried to blame timing issues, online harassment, and audience fatigue for the disastrous turnout. But as the numbers trickled in, merchandise sitting untouched, theaters half empty even on discount days, those excuses wore thin. According to insider leaks, investor meetings grew heated and ugly fast. Some shareholders allegedly accused Disney leadership of losing touch with their core audience. Others demanded to know why no one inside the company had seen the storm coming. especially after months of online backlash, parody videos, and meme explosions. Rumor has it one furious stakeholder even threw down a brutally simple question. Did no one stop to think maybe people just wanted to love Snow White again, not be lectured by her? Internally, the blame game kicked into high gear. Some executives reportedly blamed marketing teams for pushing the empowerment angle too aggressively. Others pointed fingers at the creative teams, accusing them of gutting the heart of the original story in pursuit of modern relevance. And a few, according to whispers, pointed straight at Rachel Zegler herself, arguing that her tone-deaf interviews and social media missteps had turned a struggling film into a full-blown cultural joke. But perhaps the most brutal reality facing Disney wasn't even Snow White's immediate failure. It was what the failure symbolized. Investors allegedly warned that audience trust had been broken, that Disney's once bulletproof reputation for delivering family-friendly, universally beloved content was now riddled with cracks.
I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part.
A real team player.
And if South Park truly follows through with a full episode roasting not just Rachel, but Disney's entire corporate culture, as rumors suggest, it could shatter whatever trust remains. Sources claim that in response to the escalating panic, Disney is now considering massive overhauls behind the scenes, possible quiet cancellations of upcoming remakes, reevaluation of diversity messaging strategies, even, allegedly, the shelving of entire marketing campaigns deemed too risky after Snow White's implosion. One thing insiders seem to agree on: the South Park special didn't just humiliate Rachel, it exposed Disney's biggest fears to the world. And if the rumored second strike hits as hard as insiders suspect, the fallout could be far worse than one movie tanking. It could mark the beginning of a much bigger, much more painful reckoning for the House of Mouse. As if facing South Park and The Simpsons wasn't enough, insiders now whisper that Rachel Zegler could soon be hit with yet another tidal wave of mockery, this time from none other than Family Guy. According to multiple speculative rumors circulating among Hollywood insiders, writers for the long-running animated series are allegedly preparing their own brutal takedown of the Snow White saga, with Rachel at the center of it all. Nothing has been officially confirmed yet, no trailers, no teaser clips, but sources claim Family Guy's team has been tracking the Rachel situation closely, with insiders hinting that they see it as the perfect setup for one of their classic cutaway gags. And if history is any guide, Family Guy doesn't just parody you once. They turn you into a running joke for years. Rumors suggest the upcoming jab could frame Rachel as the ultimate cautionary tale, a once promising starlet who mistook lecturing audiences for charming them. Some even speculate that the writers might go after Disney's broader collapse too, roasting the studio for abandoning the heart of their classics in favor of checklist storytelling. If true, it would be a devastating cultural trifecta: South Park, The Simpsons, and Family Guy, all dunking on the same meltdown in real time. Industry insiders allegedly say that if Family Guy follows through, it could be the most damaging parody yet. While South Park's takedowns are sharp and fast, Family Guy's brand of humor has a way of lingering, keeping a punchline alive across entire seasons. Just ask Meg Griffin, or any number of real-world celebrities the show has roasted into oblivion. Once Family Guy labels you a joke, it sticks. For Rachel, the risk is catastrophic. A South Park mockery is painful but can be spun as edgy satire. A Simpsons parody stings but feels at least rooted in commentary. But a Family Guy takedown? That's pop culture immortality of the worst kind. The kind that keeps getting replayed, memed, referenced, and laughed at for the next decade. Insiders close to Rachel reportedly say she's aware of the whispers and terrified. After all, it's one thing to survive a single viral meme cycle. It's another thing entirely to become the punchline of multiple generations worth of primetime satire. And with Hollywood already backing away, Rachel's margin for error is vanishing fast. Because once Family Guy gets involved, it's not just a controversy anymore. It's a legacy, and not the kind anyone wants. In Hollywood, there's always talk about redemption, about comebacks, second chances, and reinventing narratives. But after the avalanche Rachel Zegler and Disney are facing, insiders quietly wonder, is a comeback even possible anymore? Or has meme culture, late-night satire, and endless internet mockery locked them both into a new, brutal normal they can never escape? For Rachel, the road back would be steeper than most fallen stars have ever faced. She isn't just tied to a bad movie. She's tied to a cultural symbol now, an example critics and commentators point to whenever they want to mock Hollywood arrogance or tone-deaf reboots. Her face isn't just attached to Snow White 2025, it's burned into the viral lexicon of woke white, of empty theaters, of angry investors and discarded popcorn buckets. Every time a new meme drops, every time South Park or Family Guy rolls out a new gag, it gets harder for audiences to separate Rachel the actress from Rachel the icon of what went wrong. Could she recover? Some insiders say it's theoretically possible, a humble, stripped-down indie film, a long break from the spotlight, a slow rebuild rooted in sincerity and genuine connection to audiences. But even then, the stain of being the punchline that everyone piled on, from TikTok to South Park to the very company that hired her, might never fully wash away, especially if Family Guy joins the chorus and immortalizes her downfall for seasons to come. And Disney? Their problem might be even bigger, because Snow White's collapse wasn't just about Rachel. It exposed deeper fractures inside the House of Mouse. A growing distrust from audiences who feel preached to rather than entertained, a sense that the magic that once defined Disney's brand is being replaced with boardroom checklists. Investors know it, executives know it, even The Simpsons, Disney's own property, knows it, and savagely said it out loud. If South Park's rumored next special drags Disney even deeper, insiders fear it could trigger a chain reaction of audience rejection that affects more than just Snow White. It could color the reception of every future remake, every modernized fairy tale, every earnest attempt to rebuild trust. Because once the illusion is shattered, once audiences feel like they're being sold a hollowed-out version of what they used to love, it's nearly impossible to win them back. So what do you think? Can Rachel Zegler pull off a true Hollywood redemption? Or has the internet already decided her fate? And after this public spectacle, will Disney finally listen to audiences or keep doubling down on a strategy that even their own cartoons are roasting? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you want to see more breakdowns like this, and don't forget to subscribe, because when you're ready to hear what Hollywood really doesn't want you to know, the next video is already waiting for you.